Welcome to the TV Lounge, a place where we get together to view and discuss lesser-known TV series. You know, there are plenty of places to discuss the latest hit shows, but we're here to tell you about some older programs you might not have heard of or watched. Some are quite good, and others, well, they're worthy of discussion and dissection. So have a seat here in the extra recliner and join us in the TV Lounge. Well, Andy, here we are, another episode of the TV Lounge and episode 6 of Crime Traveler.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close to the end of the series, actually.
That we are. Now, I don't know if you've looked at our website recently, but I had to make a change. I found for some reason, a few days ago, I went to check, and the little bit of coding that I have that plays the episode, inside the website, for some reason that's not displaying, and I don't know what the problem is, but I had to make some changes to the TV Lounge website. I had to get a different player. It's one that I got from the Podcast Pickle site, and so now it sits at the top of the page, and it shows all the episodes available that play just inside that particular player. So I wasn't able to get something that I could put some coding, with each entry to play from that entry.
Okay. Do we still have a link on each for just a direct MP3 download?
Yes. I'm still putting the direct link for the MP3 with each entry.
Cool.
But to listen to it on the website, you'll have to use the newer player. Well, let's go ahead and jump into some TV stuff. A couple of things that I noticed. Not too much going on as far as new shows being announced at this point, but there is one coming up. The people who created The Amazing Race, they're putting together another one of those competition reality series. This time Is it called Amazing Sharktopus? No. Although when Sharktopus comes out, I'm sure that will be amazing.
Yes.
But this is another one of those competition reality shows, and it's called Catch Me. There's not a lot of details. They're keeping this one pretty hush-hush, but the format seems to contain some of the same action elements that made Amazing Race, such a long-running hit.
Yeah.
They say that they're looking for they're looking to cast 2-person teams for this project. It's described as, and of course they're all described this way, a heart-stopping reality competition that requires contestants who have an adventurous streak and a poker face. And that's about all there is. I guess we can make our own assumptions about what Catch Me is about. I think it's going to be another one of those that after you've seen a few episodes, it's kind of the same old.
Yeah.
Over on Fox, they've also ordered a pilot. At this point, it's just a pilot called Panic Attack. This is another reality show, and they're going to have contestants face their greatest fears. Now, whether that's, fear of heights or snakes or tight spaces or something like that, they say they'll have a pair of therapists every week who will work with 5 people who suffer from the same phobia. So it's like one week you're not going to get somebody who's scared of heights and somebody who doesn't like spiders. You'll get 5 people who are all afraid of heights.
This really is going to turn into a show where the only reason you watch it is to laugh at the people, which is kind of sad. I remember when I was a kid seeing a talk show on TV where they had people with irrational fears and phobias on there. Like there was this lady who was deathly afraid of bandages, Band-Aids, anything like that. Couldn't stand it. And so in the middle of the show, they bring out a guy dressed head to toe like a mummy.
Oh, no.
Just to freak her out. And she goes running around, just screaming her head off, just trying to, get out of the room.
This wasn't a high-class show like Maury, was it?
It's one of those, yeah.
Yeah, well, okay.
Anyway, I'm sure it's going to be something similar where you're just kind of watching and laughing.
I think that might be the main draw to this. Hopefully, this isn't something where, you're afraid of heights, huh? Let's all go to the roof. I think if you actually watch people in real therapy, that could be a boring program. I think they're going to have to do something that's a little over the edge.
Yep.
Otherwise, nobody would watch it. Who wants to sit watch you and a therapist talk about how you don't like, you're afraid of grass or something? Now, here's something I am really excited about, and I've talked about this on the Batwings Beat podcast, and that is the old 1927 black and white silent movie Metropolis. Have you seen that?
Yes, it's been a while, but I have.
Now, I've talked before about how they found missing footage, and it's all been put back together. It's now 147 minutes. And they're releasing it as the complete Metropolis. There's still some missing footage, right? But this is like the most, or do they have everything now? They have all but just maybe 5-6 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
See, originally this was 153 minutes.
Yeah.
And they've got it back up to 147 by adding almost another half hour that was missing. A lot of this, I can't remember the story exactly, except a lot of the footage was found, and they have been working for several years to restore it, to enhance it, and put it all back together. The interesting thing about this is it recently had a cinematic debut here in the United States. It was on April the 25th at Grauman's Chinese Theater. It was part of a film festival. They showed this new restored edition. The exciting part about this is it's getting a regular theatrical release beginning May 7th in all the major markets in the U.S. and Canada. The thing that I'm looking forward to is there's going to be a DVD and Blu-ray release this coming November. And I can tell you that is one that I am definitely going to buy. I don't think in the little town where I live that I'm going to see this complete Metropolis in the theater. So I am definitely buying this when it comes out in November. It's one of the 2 silent movies that I have seen that I really, really liked. The first one was Wings, and that was extraordinary film. But that and Metropolis are 2 of the best silent films, like I say, that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I get a chance to see in the theaters. I think that would be a pretty cool thing.
Now, there is a website where you can get more information. It recently went online. The address is www.kino.com/Metropolis. I'll put a link to that in our TV Lounge show notes as well. But that's all the information I had about TV shows and movies. I think maybe now we should just jump right into our recap of this episode of Crime Traveler called Death Minister. The episode begins with Jeff Slade and Holly Turner hidden in a warehouse. They're observing 4 men who are making plans to rob the Metropolitan Bank the following morning. Next, we're at Holly's apartment, where she and Slade are returning from a trip to the past.
Can you remember it all?
Yep.
Now you can tell Grisham. So tomorrow when they hit the bank, you'll be waiting.
That's the idea.
There's just one snag.
What's that?
How are you going to explain how you managed to overhear the entire plan?
And I'll take it you prefer me not to mention time travel.
Yes, please.
I'll think of something.
It's the next morning, and we see the 4 robbers converging on the bank. One is walking and strolls past the getaway car. Another is arriving by taxi with a large, fancy-wrapped box. A third man is coming up the steps from the subway outside the bank. However, he has the gate to the subway slammed and locked in his face by Jeff Slade. Inside the bank, the first man is anxiously watching the time. Outside, the taxi arrives and the man with the box is greeted and overpowered by Slade as he gets out of the cab. At the same time, we see Nicky Robson sneaking up behind the getaway car with a tow rope. He fastens it under the car and loops the other end around a post cemented into the sidewalk. Back inside the bank, Slade enters wearing the robber's hat and sunglasses, and carrying the box, which contains a shotgun. As he approaches and subdues the first bank robber, the shotgun fires and sets off the bank's alarm system. Outside, the man in the getaway car hears the alarm and sees an approaching police car. He starts to drive away, only to be stopped by the tow rope. Police converge on the bank and arrest the robbers. Kate Grissom makes the announcement of the arrest at a press conference.
I can confirm that following a prolonged police operation, we have captured all 4 members of the gang who call themselves the Apostles. Although one shot was fired, nobody was hurt. Thank you.
Is it true that you received a tip-off, Chief Inspector?
I think it would be inappropriate to comment at this time.
But how did you know exactly what was happening?
Did you have someone inside the gang?
No further comment.
Excuse us, please.
Back at police headquarters, Grisham is puzzled about the information they got from Slade. She tries to get answers from Detective Morris.
Jeff Slade. How does he do it?
Do what, Chief?
Listen, we knew the Apostles were meeting yesterday evening and we knew where, but the tip-off came too late. By the time we'd got there, they'd already left.
Yeah.
But Slade knew their entire plan. He knew the name of the bank, the taxi, the pedestrian subway. Now, how could he know that?
It's a mystery, Chief.
Oh, thanks very much. Very helpful.
At Holly's apartment, she is tinkering with the time machine when a part in the machine shorts out. Holly tells Slade that they are overusing the time machine.
Before I got involved with you, I was just doing small, controlled experiments. Now we're using it like it's a double-decker bus.
Come on.
No, there's a bank robbery or someone steals a bar of chocolate from the local branch of Woolworth. Ring, hop on, and this is the answer. Only it's not. It may not matter to you, but piece by piece you are destroying a lifetime's work.
It does matter to me.
Yeah, I wonder.
She also reminds him that there is another way to solve crimes besides using the time machine.
I realise there's another way to solve a crime. It's called good old-fashioned detective work. It's what you get paid for. You ask questions, look for clues, fingerprints. Remember what those are? Then you work it all out, and that's how you make an arrest.
Look.
My father didn't invent time travel simply to help you with your inquiries. Please, next time, work it out on your own. You're a good detective. You can do it.
Okay. Next time.
The next scene begins outside a country manor. There is the sound of a gunshot. A large clock shows us it is 10 a.m., and we see a woman hurriedly climb a flight of stairs in response to the sound of the shot. She is calling to someone named Ian. Upon entering a room at the top of the stairs, she discovers the body of a man lying on the floor. Slade and Nikki arrive at the scene. Grisham and Holly are already there.
So who was he, Nicky?
Hawkins, Ian Hawkins, with 2 I's.
Oh, we could see all right then.
No, Ian, I-A-I-N. He was partly Scottish.
And now he's wholly dead.
He was a government minister, Slade. Retired at the last election. Sir Ian Hawkins? Even you must have heard of him.
Defence.
Social Security.
He was the one who tried to stop benefits for single mothers. He just stopped short of having them deported.
Holly is taking a blood sample from the carpet. It is a second blood stain located away from the body. She says it is not the same as the blood of the victim. Nikki suggests it is the blood of the killer. Grisham has more information. She has Morris play a recording of an emergency call that Ian Hawkins made just before he was shot.
Sir Ian Hawkins dialed the emergency services at 9:58, just before he was killed. I think you ought to hear what he had to say.
My name's Hawkins. Sir Ian Hawkins. Look, I want you to send someone round right away. I've got this madman here in the house. He's with me now.
Grisham tells Slade that the responding police spotted someone running from the house when they arrived. He got away. Slade remembers seeing a ladder outside the front window when he and Nikki arrived. It seems there was a window cleaner at the house at the time of the shooting. Outside, Grisham pulls Morris aside and gives him some special instructions.
I want you to stick around.
Chief?
What we were saying yesterday. I want you to keep an eye on Slade, see what he gets up to.
Right.
Let's see if he gets another miracle result. This time I want to know how he does it.
Back inside the house, Slade and Nikki are questioning Lady Hawkins. She is in her pottery studio. She tells them that her husband had many enemies when he was the minister, but that was a long time ago. When Slade asks about the window cleaner, Lady Hawkins tells him that the cleaner comes every Friday at 10 o'clock. His name is Robert, and he drives a van. She doesn't believe the window cleaner had anything to do with the shooting, and she gives them the name of someone else to question.
If I were you, I'd talk to Kirby.
Who's that?
Lawrence Kirby. Now, Ian knew him a long time ago, but recently he resurfaced. He came to Ian with some sort of business proposition, and much to my surprise, Ian agreed to become involved.
When was Kirby last here, Lady Hawkins?
Actually, he was here this morning. He came on his motorbike.
Did you see him arrive?
No, but I saw him leave. Ian was quite angry. I think the two of them must have argued.
As they leave, Nicky tells Slade that Lawrence Kirby was Sir Ian's driver. Now he has his own business called the Big Box Company. When they drive off to find Lawrence Kirby, Morris pulls out to follow them. At the Big Box Company, they ask to see Mr. Kirby. A woman who is cleaning the windows of a telephone booth asks if they are from the bank. Inside, Kirby seems surprised when they tell him of Sir Ian's death. They question him about his involvement with Sir Ian, and Kirby also mentions the nondescript window cleaner.
Dead? Bloody hell. I can't believe it.
He was shot at about 10 o'clock this morning.
10 o'clock? Well, I was there. What? No, not 10 o'clock, 9:30, something like that.
Apparently the two of you argued.
Who told you that? We didn't argue.
How did you know Sir Ian?
I was his driver. Well, you can't think I had anything to do with it.
Why were you at Sir Ian's house?
He was helping me. I went to him with my business ideas. He didn't hesitate.
What, exactly is your business, Mr. Kirby?
Telephone boxes. What, the old red ones? We convert them and we sell them.
As what?
Showers, flower boxes, or some are just straight garden ornaments.
What did you talk about this morning?
Just business. Look, who told you we were arguing? I suppose it was that cleaner.
The window cleaner?
Did you see him?
Yeah.
What was he like?
It's like a window cleaner. He's just a guy with a cloth. I didn't really notice.
For Nicky, the timeline involving the window cleaner doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. Kirby was at the house at 9:30 and left before 10.
So
how come he saw the window cleaner? According to Lady Hawkins, the window cleaner always arrived at 10.
Well, maybe the window cleaner arrived early this morning.
And left early. He must have been the one the local police saw running away from the house.
No, he wouldn't run away. He had a van.
Oh, and Kirby has a bike.
You better go back and talk to the local police. Oh, and have a look around the garden as well.
Okay, what about you?
I've got another line of investigation.
Slade goes back to the police headquarters and talks with Holly Turner. She tells him that she was right about the second bloodstain. It is not the same type as Sir Ian's. She also found a couple of black hairs on the carpet. Slade remembers that Lady Hawkins told them the window cleaner has dark hair. With that, Slade tries to persuade Holly to let him use the time machine. Outside the room, Morris is trying to overhear their conversation, but can't make it out through the closed door. Inside her office, Holly is telling Slade that it seems pretty obvious that the killer is either the window cleaner or Lawrence Kirby, and that Slade will just have to figure it out on his own. Meanwhile, Morris has taken a cup from the water dispenser and is using it against the door to Holly's office. All he hears is Holly telling Slade that she will be busy that evening attending a lecture at 6 p.m. As he leaves, Slade abruptly opens the door and catches Morris in the act of eavesdropping. Later that day, we see Slade walking up to Holly's apartment building. It is after Holly has left to attend her lecture. Slade convinces Danny, the maintenance man, to allow him to go up to Holly's apartment. He tells Danny that Holly asked him to fix the contrast on her TV. Outside, Morris pulls up and parks. While Morris waits in his car, the metal lid to a trash can comes flying from the apartment complex and crashes into the street. Morris gets out of the car to see what's going on. Inside Holly's apartment, Slade is turning on the time machine. Activating the machine not only creates electrical problems in the building, but causes all the electrical systems in Morris's car to act up. We're back at Sir Ian's house, and it is 9:20 in the morning. Sir Ian comes down the stairs to answer the front door. It's Jeff Slade at the door, pretending to be a substitute window cleaner, saying that Robert couldn't make it. As Slade cleans one of the upstairs windows from the top of the ladder, he sees Lawrence Kirby arrive on his motorcycle. Slade climbs in an open window and overhears a conversation between Kirby and Sir Ian. Apparently there is a problem with Kirby's business, and Sir Ian is not happy about it.
It wasn't my fault they cancelled the order.
What order?
I told you, P&J. They've got garden centres all over the country. There's 200 units. I do all the work and then they cancel. Now my cash flow.
If they order the units, you can sue them.
That was a verbal contract.
You're a bloody idiot. I'll think about it.
I can still shift it, but it's going to take time and money.
I said I'll think about it. Now get out.
You shouldn't talk to me like that, Sir Ian.
I'll talk to you any damn way I please.
When Lady Hawkins approaches, Slade hides inside the study where Sir Ian's body was discovered. We see Kirby leave on his motorcycle, and Sir Ian goes upstairs to his study. Before going, though, he makes critical remarks about Lady Hawkins' attempts at pottery making. Entering his study, Sir Ian encounters Slade, who identifies himself as a police officer and says he is there to warn Sir Ian. At the same time, we see the truck of the regular window cleaner arrive. Back in the study, Slade is trying to explain the concept of time travel to Sir Ian and warn him of the future.
What do you think about the concept of time travel, Sir Ian? I have a friend called Holly Turner. Her father was Professor Turner. You may have heard of him.
What about him?
Well, he was the one who invented it. The time machine. I've never told anyone this before. Look, Sir Ian, you have 3 minutes to get out of this house.
Or else?
Or else you're going to be shot.
Downstairs in the kitchen, Lady Hawkins is preparing a hot drink. Someone dressed in black quietly closes the kitchen door. Back in the study, Slade pleads with Sir Ian to leave the study before the killer arrives.
Please, come with me now, even if it's only for a walk around the garden. What have you got to lose? You don't have to believe me, just... Please, do as I say.
But I do believe you.
Do you?
I was an undersecretary in the Department of Science, and I knew Frederick Turner, or knew of him. The Einstein-Rosen bridge, it was his way of constructing a path through time.
We've got 2 minutes.
My wife is downstairs.
Don't worry about your wife. You're the one in danger, Sir Ian.
Right.
Sir Ian pretends to hear something outside. When Slade goes to the window to check, Sir Ian hits him on the head with a large candle holder, knocking Slade unconscious. Sir Ian picks up the telephone and makes the call to the emergency service that Grissom played earlier. As he talks on the phone, the door to the study opens and we see a gloved hand point a gun at Sir Ian and fire, but we don't see the gunman. Slade wakes up and sees Sir Ian's body on the floor, and we see it is Slade's blood on the carpet, the second blood stain that Holly discovered. He looks outside to see the window cleaner's truck driving away. Slade gets the license plate from the truck. He then makes his escape out the window and down the ladder. As he gets to the ground, a police car pulls up. The police officers chase after him. As Slade climbs over a fence to get away, the timer from the time machine falls off his wrist.
Back at police headquarters, Slade is running the license plate from the window cleaner's truck. He gets the name of Robert Mather and an address. When Holly enters the room, he quickly clears the computer screen. She notices that Slade is behaving strangely. When Slade leaves the office, Morris tags along behind him. Morris sees Slade go through a door at the end of the hallway. Suddenly, the elevator on the opposite side of the room opens, and he sees Jeff Slade inside the elevator. He chases Slade out the doors to the parking garage and watches him get into a taxi. As he's watching Slade get into the taxi, Morris sees Slade come out of the doors of the building behind him and get into his car. Morris has just seen 2 Jeff Slades. Back in Holly's office, Nikki comes in with something in a plastic bag.
Holly, have you got a minute?
Come in, Nicky. What can I do for you?
Well, Slade sent me back to Hawkins' place, the minister, to check up on the man the local police saw running away after the murder. Anyway, I decided to have a scout round the garden just in case, and I found something rather strange. Here, look. Looks like some kind of watch, but not like any watch I've ever seen.
Slade.
Yes, Nikki has found the timer from the time machine that Slade dropped. When she asks if anyone has seen Slade, she gets conflicting stories of someone seeing Slade in the elevator and going down the stairs. Based on the time left on the watch, Holly knows that Slade will use the machine while she attends her lecture. She tells Nikki that they have to find Slade, and to do that, they have to solve the case.
Nikki, you're gonna have to trust me. Slade could be in a lot of trouble.
Is it the watch?
Yes, this is Slade's watch and he ought to have it. We have to find him.
How are we going to do that?
By solving the case. Right, we've got the window cleaner and we've got Kirby. We don't know anything about the window cleaner, so let's stick with Kirby.
Why?
Because it doesn't make sense. Why would anyone in Hawkins' position go into a telephone box business with a man who used to be his driver?
To help him out.
Ian Hawkins was in politics for 30 years. He never helped anyone.
Meanwhile, the time-traveling Slade who got in the taxi has gone to the address of Robert Mather, the window cleaner. It's an abandoned nightclub called Studio Valbonne. When Slade enters, he confronts Robert, who pulls a gun on him.
It was you, wasn't it? You were the window cleaner at Sir Ian's house. Come on, put that away.
It's over, Robert.
Stay where you are.
You won't use that. You shoot me, they'll send someone else. If you shoot them, then someone else will come. And where will that get you? My department knows where I am. I have to report back at 6 o'clock.
When Slade says 6 o'clock, he looks at his wrist and sees the timer from the machine is gone. He realizes he doesn't have the watch to return to the time machine to enable him to get back to the present. He makes a move, and Robert shoots him in the leg. Meanwhile, Holly and Nikki arrive at the big box company to find Kirby's secretary, Monica Cox, leaving in a hurry. She explains that Kirby just fired her. It seems that since the police were there earlier, Kirby has liquidated what he could, took the petty cash, and is preparing to leave. Holly asks her about Sir Ian.
Miss Cox, have you ever met a man called Sir Ian Hawkins?
Well, I never met him, but I know him. I know about his money, anyway.
He's an investor.
He's a bloody idiot. God knows how Kirby got him to put his cash into this. He must have lost thousands.
So the business never worked?
Well, would you put one of these things in your back garden? Not that Kirby would ever listen to anyone, but you would have thought a sir would have had more sense.
Where is Kirby?
That'll be him now. Looks like you just missed him.
Holly and Nikki turn to see Lawrence Kirby taking off on his motorcycle. They take up the pursuit, and Holly manages to cut him off, causing Kirby to crash his motorcycle inside an automobile repair shop. His motorcycle comes to rest directly under a car which is up on a hydraulic lift. When Holly asks him where he was going in such a hurry, he tells her it's none of her business. At that, Holly grabs the controls of the lift holding the car above Kirby. She pushes the button to start lowering the car. As the car lowers, she asks him how he got Sir Hawkins to invest in his company. She suggests that Lawrence Kirby knew something about Sir Ian. As the car almost comes down to rest and crush Kirby, he tells Holly what he had on Sir Ian.
It was something happened 20 years ago.
What?
He was a minister in the Home Office. There was a girl.
He had an affair?
Bloody hypocrite. Went on for about 6 months. I could have gone to the papers then.
So you threaten to expose him now?
Yeah.
Who was she, the girl?
She worked as a waitress at a nightclub.
What was her name?
I don't remember.
Mesa, Janet Mesa!
Tell me about the club.
It was the Studio Valbonne in Lock Street. She shared a flat over the top. I don't know, she was sick, dying. She rang Hawkins, asked him for help.
What did he do?
He ignored her. It was the best thing could have happened to him.
It's got to be something else. If this happened 20 years ago, how would you have even proved it? You knew something else, didn't you?
She had a kid! Grown-up kid!
What was the name?
Bob Mather, Robert Mather.
Robert?
The window cleaner.
Back at Studio Valbonne, Robert has tied Slade to a supporting pillar in the building. He asks Robert why he killed Hawkins.
Why did you kill Hawkins?
For what he did
To you?
to my mum and to me.
What did he do?
He didn't do anything. He ignored her. She was sick. He could have helped her, but he didn't even return her calls. He did nothing.
Where is your mum now, then?
She died.
Slade tries to persuade Robert to let him go. He knows he has to be back at the time machine by 6 o'clock or he'll be caught in a loop of infinity. As Holly hurries to Studio Valbonne, Robert is breaking gas lines in the building. Holly knocks on the door to the studio building and Robert answers. When Holly confronts him, he tries to attack her and runs back inside. Meanwhile, gas is filling the room and Slade sees a gauge that says auto ignition control. The gauge is climbing to the ignition point. Outside, Holly is trying to break into the building. She is almost run over by Robert driving off in his truck. When she does get in the building, she tries to shut off the gas, but can't. She cuts Slade loose and they get out of the building just as the gas ignites and explodes. Now they have to return to the time machine. As they approach Holly's apartment building, they spot Morris in his car outside. The timer buzzes, warning them that they only have 3 minutes. It's Holly who distracts Morris by throwing the garbage can lid into the street. When Morris goes to investigate, Slade sneaks back into the apartment building. But he runs into Danny, who just saw him go upstairs. Slade tells Danny that he fell out of the window. Slade returns to the time machine and gets back to the present just in time, but he has to face an angry Holly Turner.
Tell me, Why did you do it?
Because I wanted to know.
To know what? That Hawkins was murdered by his illegitimate son? That he was being blackmailed by Kirby? Is that what you wanted to know?
How did you find out?
I worked it out. It can be done.
Holly.
How could you? You steal in here, invading my privacy. You use my machine without my permission. And you almost get yourself killed in the bargain. How could you?
I don't suppose sorry will do.
No, sorry will not do. It won't even start. That's it. You can do whatever you like, but you are never using my machine again.
Back in Grisham's office, Morris tells her what he has found out about Jeff Slade.
Only this time I know how Slade worked it out.
Go on.
It's not entirely clear, Chief, but I believe Slade is in contact with an organisation of informers calling themselves The Machine.
The Machine?
The Machine is based somewhere outside the city. Slade has to travel to get to it. Holly Turner is part of The Machine.
Go on, Morris.
There's one other thing, Chief. I believe Slade has a double.
A what?
A double. Maybe it's a twin brother. But when Slade is meeting the Machine, the double stands in for him here.
Is that it?
Yes, Chief.
Well, Morris, your theory is the biggest load of nonsense I have heard in 27 years of policing. You are an idiot, Morris. An incompetent idiot.
Yes, Chief. You don't want me to continue my investigations into Slade's activities then, Chief?
No, Morris. I'll deal with Slade. You go and lie down.
Right.
And that concludes episode 6 of Crime Traveler, entitled Death Minister. Next episode, Holly is in desperate need of money to repair the time machine, and so Slade devises a plan to win the lottery. However, time won't let you cheat, or will it? Well, Andy, what did you think of this 6th episode of Crime Traveler?
I like this one quite a bit. I think it was kind of one of the better episodes. Not that we've had a lot, but I liked this one quite a bit. It wasn't as, for example, it wasn't as predictable as the last one.
The one thing that I liked about this episode was you had the crime being solved both ways, by Jeff Slade going back in time to put the pieces together, and by Holly working it in real time to solve it kind of the old-fashioned way, using detective work.
Exactly. This episode kind of really followed sort of the classic science fiction kind of model where you have technology and then you kind of overuse it or exploit it too much to the point where it causes you trouble, which is exactly what Slade did.
Right. It kind of backfires on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he really made Holly mad. She ends this episode really ticked off at him.
Yeah.
So the question is, next time, is he going to be able to, kind of get her to, we know they've got to use the time machine next episode. Is he going to be able to get back in her good graces?
Yeah, it seems like this would have kind of put it over the edge.
Well, I had a few thoughts about the episode itself. When they were talking with Lady Hawkins, Nikki and Slade down in her pottery studio, mm-hmm. Did you notice, her husband had just been murdered. She didn't seem very upset about it. She just sits there, working on the pottery. She's not,
sure.
But then, just earlier, he did rather rake her over the coals pretty bad about what a lousy bit of pottery she always makes.
Yeah, that scene I thought was pretty funny because she comes down with this hideous looking piece of pottery with the two spouts. It just, I don't know, her acting there was really good. It was funny.
It was really good. And I'm thinking, you've got to be pretty much blind not to see Morris following you.
I know. And he's got to be kind of blind to not see them in certain spots too, when they were kind of hiding from him and stuff.
Another thing that got me was, you remember when Holly and Nikki go into the computer that Slade had just used, when he was pulling up the registration for that truck?
Yeah.
Holly turns the computer on. She just pushes the power button and poof, it's on instantly. I think I'd buy a computer that when you turned it on, it's on.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, something I thought was, I guess there was kind of one moment where I thought something was a little predictable in the story. Was when they first go and are talking to Lady Hawkins, and they're talking about that the police saw the window cleaner run away, or when the police got there, they saw a guy run away, but they didn't know who it was.
Right.
I just thought, okay, that's Slade. That's going to be Slade. Anyway, I just knew that it was going to be Slade that came in.
You could tell it was Slade. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's pretty predictable. And the fact that anybody who's running, the police are going to chase him.
Right.
And we've seen this happen before where Slade gets chased by the police just because he's not real good with his timing.
Right. You know, I did love the moment when Morris sees the two Slades. It was such a great moment. Him just looking back and forth between the elevator and the stairs, and then the whole scene at the end when he's telling Grisham, "I figured it out. You know, Slade has a double. Maybe it's a twin brother." And Grisham's reaction is just like, "Mm-hmm. You're brilliant."
Exactly. She's probably wondering, and Morris got to be a detective how?
But I kind of hope, and I don't know what we're going to see in the next couple of episodes, but I kind of wanted Morris to keep following them and keep trying to figure out what's going on. I think that could be pretty interesting.
I don't remember whether anything like that happens, but if the series had continued, that would have been an interesting angle to play, that Morris, through all his bumbling, actually manages to figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I liked in the episode, I liked the line that Holly tells Nikki about Sir Ian. You know, when Nikki asks her why Sir Ian didn't help the woman he had the affair with, and Holly says that Sir Ian was a politician and, you know, for the last 30 years, and that politicians never helped anyone. I think that was a writer's comment there. The writer of the series, I think maybe he put that comment in Holly's mouth.
Yeah.
Specifically. Sure. But overall, I rather enjoyed this episode of Crime Traveler, and I'm looking forward to the next one. The next one has some interesting elements to it. I'm at the point we're recording this, I'm still working through the next episode, and it has to do with Slade trying to beat the lottery and all the little things that happen that kind of do and kind of don't work against him.
That'll be cool. And we've only got 2 episodes left. We're pretty close.
Only 2 left, and I think we're going to go on to Briscoe County Jr.
Yeah, cool.
That's the one that's getting the most votes on the poll, and at least we'll start with that one and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of Crime Traveler. As always, feedback is welcome if anyone has thoughts on this series. And I guess, Andy, I will just talk to you next time for another episode of Crime Traveler. Thanks for joining us in the TV Lounge. We'd love to hear your thoughts and comments as well. You can email us, the TVLoungePodcast@gmail.com, or visit the website and leave a comment. We're at tvloungepodcast.blogspot.com. See you next time here in the TV Lounge.